What's up, adventurers? My name is Platinum Phoenix, and welcome back to Fire Emblem Engage. Last time, we were forced into a retreat after Vale stole our emblem rings, but we are not down and out as Princess Ivy came to our rescue with more emblem rings, like Lucina here. And this time, we are going to go to the Divine Paralogues once again, because we need more power. But before we do that, I want to head over to the Ancient Well for our Somniel trip for the day. It's going to be a fairly quick one because I just want to show the results of the Ancient Well from last time. So if we go over here, hello Veronica, you can see that the Ancient Well is red, and if we press on it, you can see all of the things we get. We got a silver axe, a silver sword, and a novice and adept book. The Novice and Adept book actually give our characters more SP for free, which just lets you inherit more skills from the emblems, which is very nice to have. And I'm going to see about transforming more items real quick. Not a whole ton of stuff to throw in here, it's just a bunch of basically trash that I have. And it's only an upgrade chance of 3, so we'll see what we get tomorrow. And with that, all we have left to do is a couple of support and bond conversations. So let's go ahead and do those back to back. First up, Phoenix and Owlcrest.
Divine One, watch out! There's a wolf!
What? Where?
Mr. Wolf, please go away. Leave the Divine Dragon alone. I beg you. It isn't listening to me. No choice. I'll have to get serious.
That pose. Is he about to bow an apology like the incident at the border?
Mr. Wolf, I'm so sorry. I'm sure that my apologies will enrage you further, to the point you might devour me. And if I wind up in your stomach, my allies may waste days looking for me. But I must persist. Please, though I have no right to make this request, I ask you to go home. I'm begging you.
The wolf is actually turning away. Incredible.
There it goes. Thank goodness you're all right, Divine One.
Thank you, Alchrist. I'm glad you're okay too. That was a risky move.
Think nothing of it. Your life is worth far more than mine, so I just did what needed to be done.
No. My life, your life, everyone's lives. None of us are above anyone else.
You're right, Divine One. Looks like I've fallen short yet again. The Divine Dragon's radiance should lighten my mood, but I've managed to darken it instead. I sincerely apologize. I should leave.
What? Alchrist, wait! Wow, he's so fast.
Oh no. Oh no! I forgot where I'm supposed to take this package! Vander's gonna kill me.
Hello, Fram?
Vander, hey! So I was on my way to deliver that package like you asked, and, I messed up. Again. You can go ahead and yell at me now.
Grant me the patience. No matter. It wasn't terribly urgent.
You're not mad?
Why should I be? You admitted your error and apologized.
But I promised to stop messing things up.
Growth takes time. The Somniel wasn't built in a day.
That's true.
Try breaking tasks into pieces and going through them step by step. That works for me.
Okay. Next time, I'll get it right for sure. You're gonna be so proud.
Vander, I owe you an apology.
An apology? What for?
I messed up big time. If I'd been quicker about getting to Lithos, I could have saved Queen Lumera. I know the Queen meant a lot to you. I'm really sorry she's gone.
You are mistaken, Prince Alfred. If there is blame to cast, I bear as much as you. More, in fact, as I was her retainer. So you see, you have nothing to apologize for.
But
Without your presence, Prince Alfred, our losses may have been even greater. As I see it, I have ample reason to thank you and none to resent you.
Well, if you say so. Happy to help. Hey, is it okay with you if I visit again?
Of course. Let us share stories of happier times with Queen Lumera.
Happier times, huh?
Indeed. I think Queen Lumera would prefer that to brooding over our failures. Don't you?
So, where are you from?
Ooh, look at you, shooting off questions like barbed arrows out of camouflage. Set an ambush like that, and you're liable to drag a straight answer out of me.
Great, so let's have it.
Thing. Somewhere in, Brodia?
Oh, I see. Thanks for opening up.
Listen, could I ask you to keep a lid and, 8 padlocks on this particular jar? Things could get unpleasant for me if this gets out and folks start connecting dots.
Gotcha. My lips are sealed.
Thanks, Alfred. Look, I know you want us to talk more, but it's not quite that simple. It could get really bad for both of us if you ask me the wrong kinds of questions.
Oh,
I've got a lot to hide. And I don't want to lie to you, but if you put me in that position, then I absolutely will. Because it's far preferable to the trouble that could find you if you learn too much about me. I'm sorry, that's how it has to be, but...
No, I get it. I won't push you. I'm not out to make you uncomfortable.
I appreciate that, Alfred. Truly.
But I said last time I wanted to talk more with you, and that's what I'm gonna do. It doesn't have to be personal stuff. We can talk about anything. Like our favorite flowers.
Yes, love it! Henceforth, your brain's gonna be stuffed with obscure weapon factoids.
Thank you for the hope you showed me back then. If not for you, I might have given up.
I only gave you a small push. You'll be carving your own future for yourself.
Don't go thinking I'm some wishy-washy noble. I'm stronger than I look.
I never thought you seemed weak to begin with. I'd be nowhere without you, Lynn.
You're the Emblem King Hyacinth once used. But now you're an ally? This is hard to accept.
Until you can forgive me, Alchrist. Think of me only as an emblem, not as Lynn.
Alright, now that we're on the world map, let me officially invite you to the week of Divine Paralogues. Because we have 4 of these. We have this one, the Magma Cavern. Over here, the Berserk's Hollow. This one back here, the Altar of Destiny. And one more all the way back here, which is the Underground Passage. So, this is what we are doing for the next 4 episodes. Because, like I said, we lost 6 rings, and getting these 4 will at least put us on par with how many we had before they were all stolen. With these 4 plus the 2 we got during our retreat. So, the first one we are doing is up here, the Magma Cavern. So, let's go ahead and begin the chapter.
This place is sweltering. Are you sure there's an emblem bracelet here?
Ah, yes, I found it. This is the bracelet of the Strategist.
That's a relief. Thank you, Tiki. I'll summon the emblem right away. Advise us. Emblem of Acumen.
So, it's finally happened. I can't say I've been looking forward to this.
Hi there. Thanks for answering our summons. I'm the Divine Dragon.
I am Soren. I suppose you're here to ask for my aid. I would prefer it if you'd bother someone else.
What?
There is only one person who commands my loyalty. You are not him.
Please, don't say that. We need your help.
Yet you seem reluctant to force me to give it. That seems to be your only available course of action if you really are so desperate.
That's a fair point, but I'd really rather come to an agreement.
Very well. Prove you're strong enough to be worth my time, and I'll consider it.
Really? You will?
You don't seem the type to take no for an answer, so it appears I have little choice.
Even so, I'm very glad. Thank you, Emblem Soren.
I only said I would consider it. Not exactly a paragon of listening skills, are you?
Alright, so as this message says, due to the high amount of enemies that have staves on this map, all of the enemies' dance and stab animations will be set to off, so they won't happen during the enemy's turn. So they'll be skipping a lot of actual battles on their turn to make this go a little bit faster. I'm actually not going to change this because this is already a long chapter in and of itself, so we're just going to leave that the way it is. And I need to go into unit selection because I don't want Zelkov to come with us. Zelkov is a thief kind of like Yunaka, but I feel Yunaka is just stronger in almost every way, so I'm instead going to bring Kagetsu because he is very strong and gets, like I said last chapter, he seems to get crits like every other hit for some reason. Also to show, I have Lucina still on Phoenix because it's Marth 2.0, and I have Lynn on Alcrest because, like I said last episode, Alcrest is by far her best wielder. And next up, I want to go ahead and swap spaces. I want to put Alcrest right here, and I'm going to put Ivy right there. And I also want to show, if we go all the way over here to Soren, you can see just how far away he is. But he only has 1 health bar at this point in the story, so we only have to defeat him once, which is good, and I'm going to show you a strategy of how to do it at this point in the game. But with that, let's go ahead and start this fight.
Let us be done with this, then.
Volcanic bombs. Avoid any areas where it looks like they might fall.
Alright, volcanic bombs. As you saw, the volcano will shoot fireballs periodically throughout the course of this chapter. And the way to know where they are going to fall is basically wherever those craters are at. So all you have to do is not stand within the craters and you'll be fine. Alright, victory, defeat Emblem Soren, and defeat Phoenix is defeated. Phoenix is defeated. Great.
Ready and
but
able.
my main strategy is just going to be Alcrest, and I'll go over it more once we get to the point where that strategy can actually be taken into effect. But for now, I think we should go over the history of Soren, because this chapter takes place pretty far within his actual story. I'm going to do a little bit of skipping around. I'm going to start
As you wish.
from him at an early age to show you, or to tell you how he got his powers and everything. Then I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to when he actually became, you know, a strategist, as the ring would imply him as. But at the age of 4, he was actually adopted by a sage, and the sage put him through a rigorous training regimen to teach him magic due to that mark that you could see on his forehead during the cutscene.
Yes.
And that mark is important because it made people actually fear him, and I believe it was his mother that actually was relieved when the sage actually adopted Soren, so that she no longer had to take care of him. But later on, once the sage died, Soren actually had to seek aid from a village called Birrock, but was chased away due to the mark on his forehead once again. And after a while, and in a state of near starvation, Soren was saved by a young Ike, who is actually the man that Soren was talking about, was the only man who could command him. Ike is the one he was talking about. And Ike actually gave him his lunch and promised to help him the next day. Unfortunately, the next day Soren discovered that the destruction by a mercenary called Grail was triggered by the Laharan medallion, and Grail kind of went on a rampage once that happened. So there wasn't a whole lot to see except for a lot of corpses, and Soren looked through those corpses and he was happy not to find Ike, and he assumed that Ike was safe at that point. And that is actually the point that I would skip ahead in his story, because I don't want to talk about his entire childhood. Like, there's a whole, like, story and everything to go with his childhood, but it's more important to talk about how we get to a volcano, of all things, rather than simply talking about why Soren is indebted to Ike, which is actually why I decided to talk about his early childhood instead of starting by when he joined the Longs Alliance, which is actually where he started working with Ike once again. So after a long while, and once he was actually a fully grown adult, Soren joins the Longs Alliance, where he works closely with Ike's mercenary group called the Grail's Mercenaries. And you are not the unit I wanted here. And that's basically the only part I actually wanted to talk about him being in the Alliance, because, again, it's basically an entire game's worth of information of him being in the Longs Alliance. But after another semi-short time skip, the Longs Alliance was actually forced to retreat from the enemies that they were facing, and this is another reason I decided to do this one, or this Divine Paralogue right now, because it ties directly into retreating like we did last episode. But the Longs Alliance had to retreat, and Soren actually suggested and came up with the idea of retreating through a place called the Kaku Caves, which, if it hasn't been obvious at this point, the Kaku Caves are actually the location of this volcano. So their retreat takes place directly into and through this very volcano that we are fighting in, and it's why it's so important to Soren's story at all, basically. But I just really like the idea of going here directly after we had to retreat to see the story of Soren and his alliance's retreat as well. I just thought it was a really good and thematic way of actually showing everything.
This smoke is obscuring our view. We should advance carefully.
Right, and our next piece of information about this chapter, the smoke from the volcano is actually going to engulf the terrain a little bit and reduce units' avoidance chance, defense, and resistance, making them a lot easier to take out. So you want to avoid the smoke as much as possible. But the main crux of my strategy is actually taking this guy right here out. I want to knock this guy out because if you didn't see, he took a treasure chest that had an item called a rescue in it. And the rescue is very important to my strategy. And I'm just going to go over here and we're just going to trade it right over to Ivy, because Ivy can fly and actually use stabs. But once we trade, I am also going to just attack to make sure that this flying unit gets taken out.
I'll go first.
Don't need anyone to get hurt by this flying unit coming up at us. And I really enjoy using Ivy. Ivy is a really strong unit, and she's really fun to play as, just because she really is easy to use and easy to maneuver, thanks to her being a magic user and being a flying unit. But we are just going to use these guys to take out this army, and I think this fight is only going to last about one more turn. And you will see why in a very short amount of time. I'm going to put you here. Yeah, and I think I'm just going to move all these guys around here. Outcrest is basically the crux of my strategy, so I really need him not to die. But I'm going to go over here and engage to take out this thief as well, because they took $2,000, and I want $2,000. So we're going to use Amir. And thankfully, thanks to the increased defense and it being Alfred, he takes no damage from this thief. And we'll just move these guys forward, even though it shouldn't super matter at this point that these guys are moving forward. You can't even make it, so you're just going to stand there, and that will be our turn. Alright, who's being hit by fire? That thief takes 10. Over on this side, this armor class takes 10. And that seems to be all. And that staff broke Diamant, unfortunately. At least it's only Diamant, and he's at least a strong unit. She's being broke again. Alright, what are you going to do? Diamant, please don't die. I don't want to have to do this all again.
Defeated. After all, I must withdraw.
Well, Tiamat, how dare you be this inept? I'm going to back up, and I will meet you at the end of the opponent's turn so that we can finally do our last turn with Tiamat alive, hopefully, at this time. Alright, back after the enemy's turn, we get some more smoke, but I made it so that it was harder for them to hit Tiamat, which makes my life easier. And I'm going to fly right in the middle of enemy territory because I'm so... Actually, no, I want to go right here. Because I am so confident that this is going to work. I'm going to use Rescue, which what Rescue does is it's basically an opposite warp, where instead of going next to a person and teleporting them away from you, you go away from the person and teleport them towards you. So we're teleporting Outcrest towards Ivy, which gives him an extra like 5 to 6 spaces. And then Outcrest will move right over here and engage with Lynn.
I'm sorry you're stuck with me.
And Lynn will allow him to use Astra Storm with a very buffed up steel bow that I gave him. And this should allow him to instantly take out Soren from like 15-20 spaces away, which is amazing, and I'm so happy that this is a thing I can do. So let's go ahead and just end this chapter right here. It's so great. It's one of my favorite things to do, and it ends the chapter immediately. Only 4 turns for this chapter, which is very nice, and Alfred and Claude are the MVPs.
That's enough. Let's end it here. Don't look so nervous. You performed rather well.
Does that mean you'll join us?
I am willing, though I suspect my involvement might cause problems for you.
What makes you say that?
I sense you will find my advice difficult to follow. As an example, my mercenary group was tasked with sheltering the princess of a ruined country. At one point, we were surrounded by enemy soldiers looking to capture her. As the group's strategist, my advice to our commander was to surrender her immediately. My logic was that, as mercenaries, gold was our priority. We had no moral obligation to her. Circumstances later changed, but I stand by the advice I gave at the time. I would give it again.
You're right to think I would disagree with that advice, but wrong to think I wouldn't value it. Difficult decisions need to be looked at from every angle. So I actually think it's a good thing that we have such different perspectives.
I could debate you on that point, but I don't see it getting us anywhere. Instead, let me give you this advice. Follow your own ideals.
What do you mean by that?
War is cruel. Wishful thinking won't bring you victory, but sticking to your convictions will. If war has taught me anything, it's that sheer determination can alter the course of history. So go on believing as you do. Continue forward in your own way. I will support that.
I understand. Thank you, Emblem Soren. I know there will be hard choices ahead. I'll be counting on you to help me make them. In the meantime, it's great to have you with us.
Alright, and with that, that is the end of the Radiant Strategy chapter, or Strategist chapter. But we did just get another emblem, so we need to go over him. So, Emblem Soren is an amazing tome user emblem because he has several things that go great for them. He grants 1 magic, 2 resistance, and 1 dexterity at level 1, or at bond level 1, which is great for any magic user, but is especially great for offensive magic users. He also has a skill called Flare, which basically allows him to, whoever he's equipped to and engaged with, will have the ability of, whenever they are attacking with a tome, the opponent's resistance will be lowered by 20%, just making them easier to defeat whenever you are using a tome. And the last thing that I really need to go over for him is that he has a skill or an attack called Bolting, which is a tome in and of itself. It's a rare tome that only he has, and it gives a unit a very long-ranged attack. I believe it has a range of like 10 or something like that. And it's something they can use every single turn. So thinking about it, it's like having Warp Ragnarok without having to teleport, and with being able to do it every single turn. So you get the damage out of it, you get the long range out of it, and you're not right next to the opponent, so they can't counterattack you. It's a great attack and something great to keep in mind. But I think that's all I have to go over for Soren, so I think we're going to end the episode here. So I hope that everyone enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Next time, we will be continuing with our week of Divine Paralogues. But until then, happy adventuring!